Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Spider-Woman, issue number 3. I'm telling you right now, out of nowhere, this comic book, issue 1, 2, and 3, literally hitting it out of the park. Look, we're still on the first story arc. But on the way between my couch, reading this comic book, to here, my office, to do this video, I thought of something very, very interesting. We're going to get into all that good stuff after we talk about who made the book. So Carla Pacheco on writing, Perry Perez on art, Frank D'Armata doing the colors, and VC's Travis Lanham doing the letters. Jung Yeon Yoon doing the cover art, and David Nakayama doing the variant cover art. Bruh. This, first off, I love the first page on the comic book where it's the little bit of a recap and it's really dark, but there's a lot of punching of things and it's kind of like a look into the future and how we're about to get to where we're going. That is, I believe, fairly unique as far as comic books are concerned. You'll see that in movies or TV shows, but you rarely ever see it. It's so rare that I can't remember right now. I can't recall or place a single time that I've ever actually seen it happen in a comic book. It's like, this is where we are. This is where we're going. This is how we got there. Now hold on. Let's actually get there. That is just brilliant. We're seeing this freaking jerk face who's manipulating Spider-Woman. There's action in this, mind you. But after you read the comic book and go back and think about it, it's like there really wasn't that much action. Yet it felt like there was a lot of action. There were 2 distinct action scenes in here. Three. And wow. It felt like it just, because it explained so much, I'm at a loss for words. The book certainly wasn't. There wasn't a single word balloon that was wasted in this. Not a single one. Were there even any narration boxes? I don't recall a single narration box. Oh, no, there were a couple. Which is, of course, her internal dialogue. There were a couple. So much of this is just the talking. There's no exposition. There's just what's happening now. I've never felt that I was in a comic book in present tense more, probably, than this comic book. And I think it has a lot to do with that first page, that opening page. I feel like this book is teaching me how to write a comic book, just observationally. Bro, Carla Pacheco, I could swear to God that this was in some ways like Kelly Thompson. The way that I had to look up and like, is this just a pseudonym? And that's not an insult. That's not meant to be derogatory in any way, shape, or form. Because I love Thompson's writing and the way that she has characters interact with each other. Yet I'm still seeing a distinction here, which is... So here's the thing that I want to talk about. What happened in this comic book? First off, a lot of cool things happen in the freaking comic book. Go buy the goddamn comic book. It's as simple as that, all right? That's not that hard. That's not that hard. Go buy this comic book. But what is the thing I want to talk about? Look. We get a whole lot of events. You know where I'm going with this. You get a whole lot of events from a lot of these guys. Yes, guys, all right? That just, a lot of times there's a lot of buildup and it seems really cool. Some of the guys are really good at it. But most of these events, and we get an overload of events, they freaking blow. You know that I'm not saying anything particularly controversial to any fan. All right. I think most of the fans will say that, one, we are overloaded with events and they're going to keep on throwing events at us anyway. And most of these events just aren't good. And even some of the events that are halfway decent still seem to suck because there's so many events and so many of them don't mean anything. When you look at a writer like Carla Pacheco, and I hope I'm not butchering her name, I look at this and I say, this person has this incredible ability to take these characters and add to them, to give them family, to do things that are actually going to matter for these people, all right? So, not first appearances in this book, that would be back in issue 1. But their first reveals in this issue kind of make going back to issue 1 is now just a little bit more valuable, isn't it? because the characters in this book actually matter now. There is a first appearance in this comic book also. Not going to get into that. Trust me and get it. I apologize for not getting to this comic book earlier. Life happens. Kelly Thompson does something very similar. So here's my proposition. Marvel, wake the hell up, jackasses. How about you consider having, and I mean that in a loving way. I'm from Jersey. I call people jackasses as a friendship thing. But anyway, like in general, freaking wake up and consider having Kelly Thompson and Carla Pacheco doing an event. Make it a small event if you want. Fine. But pay these two to sit down and actually write an event. Small event, minor event, large event. Don't know. Don't care. Leave it up to them. Say, hear the reins. Enjoy. Enjoy. That's what I want to see. How much you want to bet it's going to freaking blow our socks off? Carla just became one of those writers who I don't want to suggest I want to see this, I want to see that. I know there's a lot of people out there who only watch a couple of my reviews. I do a bunch of different comic book reviews for a bunch of different comics, whatever, I get it. And I've said in some of my reviews, but not in all of my reviews, which is why some people don't understand the John Byrne rule that I propagate all the time. Every comic is someone's first comic. Well, every review is somebody's first review. So there are people who look at some of my reviews and they'll be like, you know, rather than say what you want to see out of a comic book, why don't you just enjoy the comic book? I'm not going to be upset at these people for not understanding that I actually say this often. I would prefer to just read a comic book and enjoy the comic book as opposed to be left wanting. And my favorite writers are the writers who I don't ever look at and say, you know, I'd rather have seen this, or it would have been nice to have seen that. No. This is an entirely different species. This is an entirely different animal right here. Kelly and Carla are two of a number of writers who I can't look at what they're writing and say, I'd rather have seen this, or it would have been nice to have seen that. Nah, man, I just want to see these guys keep doing what they're doing. I also got to talk about the art fairly quickly, although it deserves a lot more. Perry Perez on this. I'm trying to find the page. It's a super action scene. Okay, I'm going to show you two really cool action scenes, okay? Double page spread of multiple panels of some serious dogfighting action. That was fun. It pales in comparison. I'm not going to show you the other page. Even though there's not too much on there, there is something on there. I'm going to show you this. Have you ever seen an anime-style book? Think about all the different genres that Carla is pulling from and Perry Perez is pulling from. I think there are like 15 panels in all on this. 15 panels! Yet on almost all of them, on several of them, the action is actually coming out of the panel. On some of them, the word balloons are coming out of the panel, showing the bleed, how they just kind of bleed into each other, right? The flow. Kirchhoff's law, all right? This is amazing. This is one of my favorite panels in comic book history. And it's all got granted, the vanishing point is like somewhere over here, but, oh man. Damn it, this is amazing. This comic, in so many ways, rocking my socks, blowing my socks off my feet. Yo, the covers on this, the what do you call it, the prologue on the page, I didn't even actually read the prologue because I didn't feel like I needed to. I'm only on issue 3, right? I'm sure that's good too. But like then the first actual page of the comic book, which is, you know, hey, check it out, here's where we're going. To the panel layout, to the incredible art, the colors, everything in this comic book. This is, beyond the shadow of a doubt, one of the best comic books that Marvel is publishing right now. Guys, think about what's been happening in DC. Think about, I'm going to mention Tom Taylor, who I've argued is the most underrated writer in the comic book industry right now, today. Just people aren't recognizing how amazing this guy is. When you read his stuff, it's like, wow, this is really good. But there's a lot of people who just aren't reading it. Shame on them. Your loss, not ours. Unfortunately, it does become our loss, so what do I know? Because Suicide Squad just got canceled recently. Guys, we are in a really rough patch where sales is what's going to matter. So I'm telling you right now, jump on this comic book sooner rather than later, because this is one of the best comic books that's coming out right now. Marvel doesn't pay me. They don't even send me free comic books. They don't do anything for me. Nothing. Most of them don't even recognize that I exist. Whatever. It's fine. I don't care. I'm here about my love for the comic books. And I'm telling you right now, we all have a personal interest in this. If you read it, if you read them, you're going to love what you're seeing in here. This is just one of the hands down best. It's not even like, oh my God, I'm a Spider-Woman mark. I love me some Jessica Drew. You know what I'm saying? I love it. But I'm also one of those people who, if I see a comic book that's written bad about one of my favorite characters, I'm going to hate it more. I'm gonna loathe the comic book and I won't even touch it. You know what I'm saying? 10-foot pole. Get away. So I read this comic book, and they're handling the character so damn well. Another thing that's great about this comic book, the letters page. It's actually Carla getting involved. And how often do you actually have the writer of the comic book taking care of the letters column as opposed to one of the editors or the assistant editors? Guys, please try and find a fault in this comic book. Educate me, school me on what's wrong with this comic book, because I can't find anything wrong with it. The more I try and delve into it, the more I'm actually in love with the book. I think that you guys are going to feel the same way. Go back and get issue 1, kind of important. Get this issue, also kind of important. Hey, probably not going to hurt to get issue number 2 also, right? Collector or otherwise. Every single tick is being hit, and it's not like check, 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 check. No, it's like, it's going to be really cool. Bam! And that's exactly how I feel when I'm reading this comic book. Guys, get this comic book. Can't stress it enough. Also, watch an ad. Only way that your favorite YouTubers get paid, unless you want to become a patron, in which case, thank you. Also, like the video, and I'm out. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.